So I did actually end up buying 3,500 shares, and it just ripped 60%. I'm up like almost $2,000, but we'll see what happens with this. For me, I don't care if I have to hold it for a couple of years. Maybe if it rips 50, 60, 70 more percent, I'll sell out and just let my profits ride for the next 5 or 6 years. What is up, you guys? Today we're gonna talk about a new investment that I just started yesterday. This is for a company called TLRD Brands. The ticker is TLRD. For those of you who do not know, this is the company that owns Joseph A. Bank and Men's Warehouse. I'm gonna start this video by saying that this is an extremely risky investment. I could probably end up losing all of my money. But in this video, I want to go over not only why I invested in TLRD Brands, but I kind of want to go over how to value a company. For those of you who are part of my private stock market community, you know that we go over a lot of times different financial statements for different companies and how to tell if a company is financially sound, but I've never really shared what are some other things that I look at when I'm thinking about investing in a company. So in this video, we're gonna do a deep dive breakdown on the pros, the cons, the financial statements, everything about TLRD Brands, and this basically skeleton of how I deep dive a company can be used for any other company that you're looking to invest in. So hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and let's get started. So a little bit first about TLRD Brands. We know that they own Joseph A. Bank and Men's Warehouse, and honestly, this stock was getting hammered way before the pandemic, but this just kind of made things worse than they already were. They've had declining revenue since 2016. This was not a good company before the pandemic, and so some of you might be like, well, why are you even thinking about investing in them? Now, financials are not the only reason to invest or not invest in a company. There are a couple of other things. You have to look at the economic moat, the executive leadership team, as well as really what else does this company do? How can they rebrand themselves? How can they fix themselves? Especially if this is a company, that's failing, in my opinion, like a Men's Warehouse, Joseph A. Bank. I really will talk about that more, but I think that those companies are not in good shape right now. And you have to think, how can this company potentially rebrand it? And what is the executive management's team to kind of fix the problems that they're having? And now I want to start by going into the problems with this company. First major problem is that there are two brands under the same umbrella that do the exact same thing. Joseph A. Bank is a men's formal wear business company as well as Men's Warehouse. Your target audience for this type of business between both of them is the same. A 30 to 50-year-old male who works in a business setting, who doesn't want to spend insane amounts of money on suits because they do work in them, but doesn't want to go to Kmart and buy some crappy chinos. And this is very problematic. It's kind of like if Sony came out with the PlayStation, but also came out with the Xbox. It doesn't make sense. They're basically the two same things that are, competing with each other almost. And they acquired Joseph A. Bank first. So essentially, George Zimmer was the CEO and the head of Men's Warehouse. He started it himself, later got fired a couple of years ago for, reasons we could talk about some other time, but they ended up acquiring Joseph A. Bank, and George Zimmer himself has even said that this is one of the worst things that the company could have done. At the time, they kind of just expected that this was a good way to cut out some of their competition, acquire some of their customers, and merge the two together. The problem is that they are two separate businesses under one company, basically competing with each other. So I think that in order to turn this around, they have to kill Joseph A. Bank, and that's where we're gonna go and move into rebranding this company. And that starts by, like I said, creating one strong, cohesive brand. When you think of Men's Warehouse, I never really go there. I think of probably a guy in his 30s, 40s. He probably works in, a normal office building within a city. He has to wear a suit every single day, or maybe he's a lawyer or something. When I think of Joseph A. Bank, I think of my pop-up. I think of an older man who likes quality clothes, will spend extra money for them, but they're kind of outdated. And so in order to make this company work, I think that they have to kill Joseph A. Bank, merge the companies together, and rebrand under the Men's Warehouse name. Side note, one good thing if they cut both companies into one, they'd be able to fire employees, they'd be able to get rid of retail space of Joseph A. Bank that they're not using, and they'd be able to get rid of outdated clothing that, doesn't sell from the Joseph A. Bank line. Now, even with the whole men's suit industry, there are a lot of problems. Even if they were to merge both companies into one, they're still gonna run across some problems, right? So number one is that people don't have to dress up for work as much as they had to. If you look at these big Silicon Valley tech companies and really the professional world now in 2020, not a lot of them have to dress up in a suit every single day, right? The only professions you really need to do that for is if you're in the financial industry or if you're a lawyer, right? Most people do not dress up as much as they used to for work 10, 20, 30 years ago, and therefore that's gonna hurt the business model of both of these companies. And on top of that, in the short term, the whole Rona situation is killing the company because people don't need to go to work, they're doing everything online, and therefore they don't have to go buy new suits and new work clothes. And this is another problem for a company like them because, let's face it, a lot of these companies may never actually send their employees back to work. We've seen companies like Twitter and Square say that they're just gonna stay like this forever, or at least they'd be willing to do this forever, which therefore means less people buying work clothes and less people buying dress clothes. And the next point that is a problem for them is that even if you are somebody who has to wear a suit to work, or if you're somebody who likes to wear suits, even though you don't have to, like myself, you're probably not gonna go there, right? I'm somebody, I love fashion, I'm obsessed with men's fashion. For those of you who have been with me for the longest time, you know I ran a men's fashion YouTube before, and I love wearing suits. But I would never go to Joseph A. Bank, and I would never go to Men's Warehouse, because the people who love to wear suits want something a little more modern, a little more custom to them, and they're not gonna go to these places because that's not how these places are branded. I think that in order to rebrand this company appropriately, they need to do a couple things. The first one is obviously merge the two and create just Men's Warehouse. Rebrand it by Men's Warehouse, not just being somewhere you go to rent a suit or to buy a suit for work, but actually making it a men's business casual and business professional clothing line. A place where somebody like myself can go there and maybe I'm not wearing a suit to work every day, but I can get really nice chinos, I can get a really nice dress shirt, and kind of just make it like a higher end Gap for men who work in a more professional setting. The problem with doing this is that they need a ton of money for research and development and in order to rebrand this company, and at this point, they don't really have that. They're talking about filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And yeah, that's not always the worst thing, and I can make a video on that in the future, but they don't have the money to do all this research and development if they're still losing a ton of money off of some of their stores. Now let's get to the good, and honestly, I probably scared you away from this company in general after all of this, but there are some good things. The first thing is that they're a good brand. They've been around for a very long time. They're not known for selling crappy quality suits and clothing. They are still a really good and strong brand. They just have to be rebranded for the modern times. The next is that the valuation is amazing. This is a company that was trading at $60 a share at one point just a couple years ago, and now we're all the way down from the $1 to $2 range. And so when I look at it from a risk versus reward standpoint, this could be a huge investment, right? In 5-6 years from now, I could potentially, double, triple, quadruple, maybe even 10x my money 10 years from now. And that's something that's very attractive to a riskier investor like myself. Now, the last good point is something that I think the company really needs to do. And I was going to talk about this in the problem section, but e-com is killing them. So online sales are really hurting this company. And something that I think they need to do is either acquire a business, which is going to be pretty hard because they have a lot of debt on the balance sheet, or create their own proprietary software where you've probably seen these companies before where you can take a picture of yourself or send in your measurements or use some software that a company has and it will give you custom measurements to make your own custom affordable shirts, custom affordable pants, custom suits at an affordable way. This way you could log on to Men's Warehouse, you could get all of your sizes done online, you could shop all of your different business casual and business professional products, get them sent to your house, try them all on, and then return what you don't like. I think this is something that Men's Warehouse really needs to do moving into the future. This would also work if they were to do this as far as suit rentals, because this company does rent a lot of suits. For those of you who do not know, my entire family grew up as tailors and we ran a tuxedo rental shop for basically my entire life. And the reason that we went out of business was because of Men's Warehouse. People were going to Men's Warehouse for prom or weddings and renting their suits and tuxedos from them instead of going to the mom and pop shops like the one that we own. Now, there are some really big suit rental companies and tux rental companies online. And I think that if Men's Warehouse can get this type of software together and start doing the same thing online with their brand that's already established in suit and formal wear industry, this could be huge for the company. So I did actually end up buying 3,500 shares and it just ripped 60%. I'm up like almost $2,000, but we'll see what happens with this. For me, I don't care if I have to hold it for a couple of years. Maybe if it rips 50, 60, 70 more percent, I'll sell out and just let my profits ride for the next 5 or 6 years. But I do see a tough but potentially bright future for them. And here's the thing, if the valuation was not this rich for me to make a position, I wouldn't. I would stay away from this company. But with this company at this price, if private equity comes in or if they're able to actually turn this around, this could be a huge investment. So tell me what you guys think. Do you think I'm an idiot? Do you think this is a great potential investment? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing what you guys have to say. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. And once again, guys, thank you.